The Lord will demand from us an account of our help to the needy according to what we have, and not according to what we have not. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 12. If then, from fear of God, I distribute in a short space of time what I might have given away over many years, on what grounds can I be accused, seeing that I now have nothing? On the other hand, it might be argued, who now will give help to the needy that depend on regular gifts out of my modest means? A person who argues in this way must learn not to insult God because of his own love of money. God will not fail to provide for his own creation, as he has done from the beginning, for before this or that person was prompted to give help, the needy did not lack food or clothing. Understanding this, we should reject, in a spirit of true service, the senseless presumption which arises from wealth, and we should hate our own desires, which is to hate our own soul. Luke chapter 14, verse 26. Then no longer possessing wealth, which we enjoy distributing, we shall begin to feel our worthlessness intensely, because we find we cannot now perform any good works. Certainly, provided there is some good in us, we gladly obey the divine command, and as long as we are well off, we enjoy giving things away. But when we have exhausted everything, an ill-defined gloom and a sense of abasement come over us, because we think we are doing nothing worthy of God's righteousness. In this deep abasement, the soul returns to itself, so as to procure, through the labor of prayer, through patience and humility, what it can no longer acquire by daily giving of help to the needy. For it is written, the poor and needy shall praise thy name, O Lord. Psalm chapter 74, verse 21. God is not prepared to grant the gift of theology to anyone who has not first prepared himself by giving away all his possessions for the glory of the gospel. Then in godly poverty he can proclaim the riches of the divine kingdom. This is made clear in the psalm, for after the words, O God, in thy love thou hast provided for the poor, it continues, the Lord shall give speech to those who proclaim the gospel with great power. Psalms chapter 68, verses 10 through 11. All God's gifts of grace are flawless and the source of everything good, but the gift which inflames our heart and moves it to the love of his goodness more than any other is theology. It is the early offspring of God's grace and bestows on the soul the greatest gifts. First of all, it leads us gladly to disregard all love of this life, since in the place of perishable desires, we possess inexpressible riches, the oracles of God. Then it embraces our intellect with the light of a transforming fire, and so makes it a partner of the angels in their liturgy. Therefore, when we have been made ready, we begin to long sincerely for this gift of contemplative vision, for it is full of beauty, frees us from every worldly care, and nourishes the intellect with divine truth in the radiance of inexpressible light. In brief, it is the gift which, through the help of the holy prophets, unites the deiform soul with God in unbreakable communion. So, among men, as among angels, divine theology, like one who conducts the wedding feast, brings into harmony the voices of those who praise God's majesty. Our intellect often finds it hard to endure praying because of the straightness and concentration which this involves, but it joyfully turns to theology because of the broad and unhampered scope of divine speculation. Therefore, so as to keep the intellect from expressing itself too much in words or exalting itself unduly in its joy, we should spend most of our time in prayer and singing psalms and reading the Holy Scriptures, yet without neglecting the speculations of wise men whose faith has been revealed in their writings. In this way we shall prevent the intellect from confusing its own utterances with the utterances of grace, and stop it from being led astray by self-esteem and dispersed through over-elation and loquacity. In the time of contemplation, we must keep the intellect free of all fantasy and image, and so ensure that with almost all our thoughts we shed tears. When it is at peace in times of stillness, and above all when it is gladdened by the sweetness of prayer, not only does it escape the faults we have mentioned, but it is more and more renewed in its swift and effortless understanding of divine truth, and with great humility it advances in its knowledge of discrimination. There is moreover a prayer which is above even the broadest scope of speculation, but this prayer is granted only to those who fully and consciously perceive the plenitude of God's grace within them.